I'm Sue Abrams.
And I'm Dave Helling. Welcome to News Channel 4 Primetime. Our top story tonight, escalating tension along the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border. U.S. administration leaders warn Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein that any attack against Kuwait will be soundly defeated. 4,000 troops from Fort Stewart, Georgia, boarded planes for the Persian Gulf today. U.S. officials say warplanes, missiles, and ground troops are either in position or on their way to the area. Reports say Iraq has massed about 70,000 soldiers within miles of the Kuwaiti border, and tanks are now within shooting distance. And according to White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta, the threat is serious.
This remains a threat. The Republican Guard is one of their elite forces. They've got the manpower. They still have some of their equipment. They actually have equipment that they took from the Kuwaitis in the first invasion. So we can't underestimate their ability to be able to move quickly into Kuwait, and for that reason, that's why we're deploying these forces.
The troops from Fort Stewart have been to the Middle East before. They made up part of the first offensive that forced back Iraqi troops during the Gulf War.
It was just 4 years ago Iraq attacked and overran Kuwait. It didn't take long for U.S.-led troops to crush their Iraqi counterparts in the Persian Gulf War. But as News Channel 4's Bob Stepanich reports, that was then and this is now.
Nearly 4 years ago, the onslaught was quick and convincing. It took a U.S.-led coalition of forces all of 4 days to defeat Iraqi troops. And as the battle cry goes, we did it before, we can do it again, right? Well, 4 years later, things may be different. Military experts say last time, Hussein allowed too much time for the buildup of enemy troops. This time, he may not be so patient.
Unless he's completely brain dead, he has to have learned from the last experience that taking Kuwait and stopping at the Kuwait border and giving our forces time to put 500,000, 550,000 people on the ground is not the way to go win the mother of all battles. The way to do that is to go right now.
But it's not only the time, it's technology as well. It's one thing to transport troops, it's another thing to transport tanks. And right now, some military strategists fear the equipment needed for that transport is inefficient.
That's not to say that the capabilities to move troops and equipment are not there. They are, but they're not there in the numbers that are necessary. It's going to take sea lift as well as airlift to get the kind of force necessary, or even to begin to equate to what we sent over in 90 and 91.
They say there's safety in numbers. For now, these two officers believe the numbers just don't add up. Too few troops and inadequate transport to get them there. They say it's reason enough for anyone to worry.
If they move, I am. If he stays where he is, I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. It could be some more of Saddam's bluster, and we all saw that during the run-up to the Gulf War. But if he moves across the border, yeah, I'm worried, because it's going to take a lot to blow him out of there this time.
I think that the potential is there for something to happen.
Bob Stepanich, News Channel 4.
On the plus side, both lieutenant colonels say with U.S. state-of-the-art weaponry, the American Army is a formidable force at night. Battles are won and lost using high-tech weapons and well-trained troops. All of that costs money. In the Persian Gulf War, more than $61 billion was spent controlling the forces of Saddam Hussein. $7 billion of that was paid by the United States. The rest was paid by allies around the world.
Well, what do you think about the latest situation in Iraq? We want you to tell us if you think we should continue to spend our money and risk our soldiers' lives to regain control on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border. And that is our Tell 4 question tonight. You can register your vote one of 3 ways. To vote yes or no, dial 338-3000, extension 7655, or you can voice your opinion with a voicemail comment, the same phone number, 338-3000, enter extension 0404. Or finally, send us electronic mail from your home computer through CompuServe. Our ID number for CompuServe is 75061, 3266. Closer to our neighborhoods tonight, a shooting leaves one man in critical condition. This afternoon, police responded to several gunshots fired in the 7100 block of Highland. Police officials have not yet released the victim's name, and there are no suspects in custody at this time. News Channel 4 will keep you up to date on this story.
Last night on Primetime, we told you about a 46-year-old Kansas City, Missouri man found beaten to death. Police have now charged a 20-year-old with murdering Fred Rucker. Investigators say Rucker's girlfriend discovered him dead at 5945 Jackson, where he lived. Police say suspect Gerald Ball lived there too and is related to Rucker's girlfriend. How would you like a drug dealer driving your kids to school every day? It is a possibility if your kids go to KCMO schools. A story in this morning's Kansas City Star says more than a dozen school bus drivers in the Kansas City, Missouri district are ex-cons. Some have committed robberies, sold drugs, or have DWI convictions. Missouri law requires convicts to wait 10 years before applying for a bus driving permit. Some are apparently slipping through the cracks, and officials say they don't know how.
A new study says many juvenile delinquents who spend time in rehab continue to commit crimes as adults. The study of the juvenile offender program in Missouri shows half of the kids going through the system go on to become criminals as adults, and things could get worse. Over the last 7 years, the number of kids being put in juvenile programs has increased 70%. Officials also say today's juvenile offenders are more violent, robbing, raping, and murdering now instead of stealing cars and shoplifting. The mother of one of Missouri's most wanted men says her son is a cold-blooded killer. As NewsChannel 4 first reported last night in our exclusive interview, Mary Nick Lawson says her son Alan is capable of committing murder. Now, you may recall that Alan Nick Lawson is accused in a string of murders that span from Missouri to California. His mother says schizophrenia plays a big role in Alan's personality. NewsChannel 4's Heather Comstock dispels the myth now about schizophrenia.
It is said the eyes are the window to the soul. When it comes to the soul of Alan Nicholson, his mother is trying to come to terms with what she thinks lurks inside him. Whatever it may be, Mary Nicholson says it started early on in his childhood.
Alan came to me and he says, "Mom, put me away or I'll kill somebody." And I said, "What do you mean, Alan?" He says, "I will kill somebody if you don't put me away."
Mary says Alan suffers from a mental illness called schizophrenia.
He thinks he's helter-skelter. The guy that did that massive killing in California, you ask him, he'll tell you he's helter-skelter.
While mental health experts say schizophrenics are not associated with violence, they do experience disillusional thoughts.
With schizophrenia, I think in particular, the myth that people with this illness are dangerous is prominent, and that's just not true. These people tend to be withdrawn, tend to be isolative, and tend to be no more dangerous than the average population.
But dangerous is a personality trait more and more people are associating with Alan Nicholson. Mental health experts say schizophrenics have problems in their thought process, such as disillusional thoughts, paranoia, and perception.
From what little I know about the case, though, it sounds that his problems have been started early in childhood and were characterized more by violent behaviors than disturbances of thought, which make me think of a conduct disorder.
Whether or not Alan has a disorder, Mary says her son has done enough damage. He's accused of 4 murders, and his mother believes he's guilty.
I do love him, but I don't approve of what he's doing.
Heather Comstock, NewsChannel 4.
Dr. Jones says with the proper medication, schizophrenia is a treatable illness. He says it is not a hopeless condition.
Well, can you imagine going more than 30 years without being able to read and write?
Well, that's a problem for some folks. Coming up, we will introduce you to a woman who overcame her illiteracy and now teaches others how to read.
And we'll tell you how you can test your child's hearing before it's too late to prevent deafness.
And next, we'll show you an extension cord that is being recalled because of faulty wiring. Stay tuned for that important story.
Hi, I'm George Brett of the Kansas City Royals. You might have heard that I'm in there pitching to strike out ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. But did you know I also step up to the plate for United Way? Its 150 agencies make miracles of caring happen all over our community. Please join me in making a generous pledge this year.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's theatrical masterpiece, the London and Broadway phenomenon. The Phantom of the Opera. Surrender to the grand passion, to the spectacle, to the power of the music of the night. Coming for a very special engagement. One More Word. Premieres at the Music Hall in Kansas City beginning November 11th. Call ProTix at 1-800-955-5566.
Safari, the men's fragrance by Ralph Lauren. The Safari Attaché bag, yours with any $35 Safari for men purchase. Available at Dillard's.
Is this the only hammer you have? Why? Well, the head is loose. It's a reversible hammer. Say, left hand, right hand.
Paying too much for too little? It's HQ to the rescue. The home improvement warehouse with the guaranteed lowest prices on a huge selection of tools, like Skill and Bosch power tools. So keep a lookout for HQ. And we'll keep looking out for you.
An extension cord that could hurt more than help. Each week at this time, we want to tell you about products that you may have in your home that have been recalled.
Now, for safety reasons, it's helpful to know about them, but it's also useful information money-wise. In her For Your Money report, Harris Faulkner tells us what the latest products are and why they're being recalled.
The R.J. Reynolds Cigarette Company is recalling about 2 million Camel metal match lighters that were given out as part of a cigarette promotion. If you used one of the Camel lighters, you could get severely burned. Already, Reynolds is dealing with 17 cases of people being burned while using the lighters. The company has an incentive for you. If you received a free Camel lighter, throw it away or return it to R.J. Reynolds for a $5 refund check. The address is Camel Metal Match Returns, P.O. Box 7, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, zip code 27102. This next recall deals with something almost all of us have in our homes, an extension cord. Some of these are getting national attention from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission because a company called USA Maxim is recalling 230,000 of these cords. If you've bought a cord in the last year or so, here's what you need to know. The recalled extension cords have faulty wiring and can catch fire or shock you. USA Maxim is a Houston, Texas company, also known as Wholesale World or Techmart. Most of the extension cords were distributed outside Missouri and Kansas between June of 1992 and January of this year, but some discount chains have picked them up, and you should be aware of which ones are dangerous. The cords were sold in different lengths, from 6 feet to 21 feet long. They were sold in cardboard sleeves labeled Techman, Made in China, Extension Cord 125V. If you think you have one of the defective extension cords, write to USA Maxim Inc. at 5610 Savoy, Houston, Texas 77036, or return it to the store where you bought it for a full refund. With For Your Money, Harris Faulkner, News Channel 4.
And some more money news. The average cost of gasoline continues to drop because of lower crude prices and seasonal demand.
We'll see if that continues during this tension in the Middle East. The average cost of gas dropped about 1 cent over the past 2 weeks. That continues a trend that started back in August. Nationwide, consumers paid about $1.21 for a gallon of gasoline last week.
Remember last year was about 78 cents a gallon at one point?
Well, yeah, it was cheap then. It's getting up there now.
Sure is. Kansas City's gay community is showing the strength of its spending power. It is Coming Out Day in Westport. Shoppers can get discounts by showing a coming out card. More than 30 Westport businesses are taking part. The event replaces other traditional gay pride events, and it is tied to National Coming Out Day Tuesday. On News Channel 4 at 10, we'll have more on how gay shoppers and Westport merchants are handling the local event. Has your child's hearing been checked? Well, if not, listen up.
In the first years of life, children develop communication skills, but News Channel 4's Marilyn McCain says if they have a hearing problem, this could lead to a whole range of other problems.
See all the balloons?
3-year-old Siobhan is making up for lost time. Today, she has the communication skills of a child only half her age. For the first 2 years of her life, a hearing problem went undetected.
I suspected it early on in her infancy. She didn't seem to respond to voices. She wasn't speaking.
But when Mary Beth expressed these concerns to her pediatrician, he told her not to worry. She should wait until Siobhan was older to test her hearing. She did wait, and at age 2.5, Siobhan was diagnosed with a severe hearing loss. Close to 75% of her hearing was gone.
Hearing impairment isn't diagnosed until that time. The child has to start from ground zero and has lost a period of time when his brain is willing and able to acquire language early.
And that could mean poorer language skills in the future, so early detection is critical. Here's what you can look for. By 6 months, babies should startle to loud sounds. They should turn their eyes and heads when there is an interesting noise, and they should respond to their parents' voices. The National Institutes of Health urge all parents to have their infants screened within the first 3 months of life.
There's nothing to be lost by testing a child's hearing, and even an enormous amount to gain if a hearing impairment is detected early.
Siobhan's hearing loss is permanent, but with hearing aids and sign language, she's getting her verbal skills and life back on track. That's For Your Health. Marilyn McCain, News Channel 4.
Now, as of now, Kansas and Missouri do not require that newborns have a hearing test before they leave the hospital. However, 2 states in the United States do. Those are Rhode Island and Hawaii.
That is super important.
A very important test. Go get it done. Fall is in the air as temperatures continue to cool off. Diane Kacmarik is next with the forecast.
Japan is rocked by its 2nd large earthquake this week.
And the Chiefs, yes, they hit a tremor of their own as they lose their 2nd game in a row, this time to the AFC West leading Chargers. We'll have your full post-game report.
Well, here's a novel concept. You want to know what I like in bed?
On the next Susan Powters show, does your man know how to please you?
Romance should be a part of life, not when it's just time to get...
Wow.
These happily married women with great sex lives tell your man how to make you happy.
It's really important that you and your mate make time.
Well said.
Surprising tips on how to have great sex. Next Susan Powters show.
Monday at 1 on News Channel 4.
If you could furnish your home with the finest furniture in the world, would you? At Feuer's Interiors, you can. Feuer's features the most prestigious manufacturers at surprisingly affordable prices. Entire galleries by the creme de la creme. The kind of furniture you've seen in Architectural Digest and dreamed about owning can now be yours. This week at Feuer's, take advantage of store-wide savings of 40 to 50%. Furniture from Feuer's will make your home a showcase, but how much you save will be just between you and me.
Rock Bottom Closeout. Going on now at Sunny Hill Motors in Plant City. At rock bottom prices on all remaining 94s in stock. Get a 94 Cavalier, 9304. A 94 Sunbird LA, 10249. A 94 Beretta, just 12110. You've never seen so many vehicles on sale all at one time. Rock Bottom Closeout at Sunny Hill Motors by the Plant City Water Tower.
When you talk to Sunny Hill, you're dealing for real.
When you're talking Sunny,
you're talking deal.
I'm Bill Graves. This is the Legislative Library. It's in here where they keep all the government regulations you have to live with. Thousands of costly rules from Congress that hurt business and farmers. And you know what this is? It's the legislative review of my office of Secretary of State. They said I didn't pass enough regulations. Can you believe that? Well, if they think I didn't impose a lot of regulations as Secretary of State, just wait till I'm governor.
Bill Graves for governor.
Japan is cleaning up after a major earthquake hit its northern coast. The quake measured 7.3 on the Richter scale, which is more powerful than the tremor that hit the same area just last week. Authorities had feared there would be tidal waves, but that risk has apparently passed. Last week's quake killed 10 and injured almost 2,000 others. Very scary situation.
Yeah, good thing that doesn't happen here. Huh?
No.
Not in this part of the country, anyway. We've got other things to deal with, don't we?
Yeah, well, actually, this week we don't. Weather-wise, I mean, there's just about nothing out there.
Very smooth sailing. Nice fall weather, Diane.
Makes it easy for me.
Knock on a little wood there.
I know. It's definitely going to be a very pleasant week if you like the fall weather. But let's take a look at our trivia question. We'll think about maybe what happened last year. When was our earliest snow last year? That's something to think about. It wasn't today, I can tell you that much. I'll give you the answer coming up in the next half hour, though. Let's take a look here at our satellite picture. Yesterday, actually in the morning, you see that gray color? That's the cold air settling in. The satellite kind of picks it up as cloud cover. Comes back again in the night, and here's what happens in the daytime. Sun heats up the ground, and it doesn't show anymore. But look what's starting to happen already this evening. That gives you an idea that we're going to be in store for a very chilly night around the area because we've got light winds and very clear skies. A couple of good ingredients for a little bit of frost. Right now, though, cloud cover long gone to the east. This next system out here into the northwest, we've got to wait quite a while for it. As a matter of fact, it probably won't change our weather until closer to next weekend. So we've got a nice clear sailing week going on here. We'll look to the upper levels of the atmosphere. Winds out of the northwest. That's why we're seeing that cool air really rush in. This morning we were at 37 degrees, and actually by tonight we will be also in the 30s. Low pressure trough in the east will keep that cold air tucked up around the Great Lakes area, so we'll really see a lot of chilly air. Ridge of high pressure here takes a little while to build in, so the warming trend will be kind of slow this week. By tomorrow afternoon, here's the story. Weak warm front forms in the northern plains. It really doesn't do us a whole lot of good because it's staying up to the north, and actually it's not even going to move all that fast. So we're right here in the middle, high pressure. So that means chilly mornings, very mild afternoons, and a lot of sunshine around. Storm system in the southeast will keep some rain around to the Gulf Coast area and down through Carolinas and all through that area there. They're still getting it. In fact, in the last 24 hours, parts of the Texas coast received 4 inches of rainfall. It's moving a little bit east of that, but the Carolinas and Florida getting the rain. Won't affect us, though, believe it or not. Nothing changing here. So temperature-wise, today we made it into the upper 60s. So tomorrow, very similar situation. That warmth kind of builds in behind that warm front. You see a little bit of 80s there showing up in the western part of the Dakotas. We don't get it. In fact, we'll be barely near 70 degrees. Most of Kansas will top out right around that 70-degree mark. We will be in those upper 60s again. Same temperatures, same kind of day. Nice and clear and light winds. Right now, we've got 51 degrees out there. Our dew point's at 37. That's actually a little higher than it was earlier today, but we're still looking at a very chilly night ahead. Our humidity right now is 59%. Pressure is rising as high pressure starts to build in. For overnight tonight, we're looking at 35 degrees with some light winds, so expect in the outlying areas of the city and the low-lying areas, you could see some frost here and there. So you might want to protect some plants. Then as we head through the rest of the day, tomorrow we'll reach up to 69 degrees for a high, so close to 70. Plenty of sunshine, no problems. Tomorrow night, another chilly one, 39 degrees and some light winds there. And we start our warm-up a little bit there on Wednesday. We get some cloud cover in here. Our low will only be in the 40s, afternoon high in the 70s, and Thursday will be around 69 degrees. So as we head toward the end of the week, our temperatures will actually get up there in the 60s. That's it. Same thing all this week. Well, Kevin, I guess wasn't too great of a day for the Chiefs now, was it?
No, I think it's safe to say your forecast is a lot better than the one for the Chiefs right now. How bad is it for the Chiefs this evening? Well, they have not scored a touchdown since September 18th. That's 8 quarters and no end zone. In the past 2 games, the Chiefs have scored just 6 points. It's the worst 2-game point total in team history. Where's the offense? The Chargers simply manhandle Kansas City today. Second quarter, Natrone Means waltzes into the end zone. Chargers on top 13-3. Late in the half, the Chiefs were trying to come back. Joe had the offense moving a little bit, but he gets creamed on this play. Montana popped hard. Ball comes loose. San Diego has it. Chiefs get no points. Down 10 at the half. Third quarter, Joe trying again, trying to make something happen. He's picked off by Darian Gordon. Gordon brings it back about 25 yards. Chargers get the ball. Kansas City, end of drive. Fourth quarter, San Diego puts it away. Running right at the Chiefs' defense. This is Means with a nice run. A few plays later, Stan Humphries to Mark Say. Can you say touchdown? Can you say a win for the Chargers? 20-6 is the final. If you're looking for one stat that sums up the Chiefs' troubles, here it is. Joe Montana has now thrown as many interceptions this year as touchdown passes. That's not to put all the blame on Joe. The receivers have struggled a bit. There's basically no running game, and the Chiefs' offense is in a daze. The Chargers don't mind at all. They are the hottest team in football.
The thing you have to understand, first of all, accept that the best team won today. And until you do that, then you're not gonna be able to move forward. And I think clearly we understand that, as distasteful as it is, and we've got to play better.
You know, this was a big game. You know, our problem last year is we didn't take care of business at home. So far this year, we've taken care of business at home, and we got to keep playing like we're playing right now. You know, it's a long season still.
And here's how it looks in the AFC West right now. San Diego is already 4-0 in the division, including 3 road wins. The Chiefs are in second place at 3-2, Seattle 3-3. Raiders win again today. They are 2-3. Denver wins its first game to go 1-4. You see those 4 teams kind of bunched up there. But San Diego, they've got 4 wins in the division. They are going to be very, very difficult to catch, even if the Chiefs beat them at home next month. So it's going to be, it really is, especially after the 3-0 start. The Chiefs have kind of dug a little bit of a hole.
Yeah, we hope to snap out of it.
Sounds good to me.
And, of course, a complete report on the Sports Machine at 10 tonight.
You bet. Post-game from San Diego with Al Wallace. Frank will be along in about an hour.
Well, you want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, reading is the most important learning tool that a person can have.
Next, we'll meet a woman teaching others to read after suffering through 32 years of illiteracy herself.
And it isn't too late for you to tell us if you think we should continue to spend tax money and risk soldiers' lives to regain control on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border. Here are the phone numbers that you can use to call and give us your opinion. Stay with us on Primetime.
A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Take an investigation, smoke in that area. Sorry for the ambulance call. Preacher is right.
Off by accident, but it appears that
Area who have been evacuated.
This is the latest from NewsChannel 4. 2 women and 1 man were arrested.
NewsChannel 4, covering news like never before.
If you could furnish your home with the finest furniture in the world, would you? At Feuer's Interiors, you can. Feuer's features the most prestigious manufacturers at surprisingly affordable prices. Entire galleries by the creme de la creme. The kind of furniture you've seen in Architectural Digest and dreamed about owning can now be yours. This week at Feuer's, take advantage of store-wide savings of 40 to 50%. Furniture from Feuer's will make your home a showcase, but how much you save will be just between you and me.
I thought I would flunk. We were pretty desperate. Sylvan was the answer. I didn't flunk. I got an A.
If your student should be making better grades, call one of the 4 Sylvan Learning Systems in Kansas City today.
At some places, their idea of a good meal is a burger, fries, and a drink, or fries, burger, and a drink. But right now at KFC, you can get real meal deals starting at just $2.99. Choose from leg and thigh quarter of the Colonel's rotisserie gold chicken, or original recipe, or extra tasty crispy chicken. Individual coleslaw, mashed potatoes and gravy, and a hot buttermilk biscuit for just $2.99. Or for just a little more, you can get all the great food you can eat at participating all-you-can-eat buffet restaurants. Great food, great value. That's the Colonel's way.
Must be dreaming.
Relax. Turn on the light.
I wonder.
Music that relaxes you. Songs that make you feel good. Turn on the light.
Like 99.7 FM.
Make it through life if you could not read a street sign, a food label, or even the headlines in a newspaper.
Some things we take for granted are missing in 90 million American non-readers. They cannot support the learning of their children, hold a decent job, or read a prescription.
Tonight, News Channel 4's Stephanie Nishikawa talks with one woman who battled 32 years of illiteracy by reading between the lines.
For 32 years, Daisy Russell played everything by ear. If she wanted to know lyrics to a song, she'd memorize it. Daisy is one of 90 million Americans who lived with illiteracy.
Not being able to read, I was locked into low-paying jobs like washing dishes, cooking, and stuff like that. You don't really need to be able to read real well for that kind of stuff.
And for 3 decades, she made excuses hiding the fact she couldn't read.
You tell them, well, I broke my glasses. Can you help me read this? Be surprised how many people will help you out with stuff like that.
But today, after paging through hundreds of books, Daisy proves stubborn determination works, even if it took 20 years to teach herself to read. She's now a certified tutor helping others to read. She's come so far. Tonight, she's getting ready to be a guest speaker at a graduation.
When Mother would tell my father we needed to stay in one place long enough for me to catch up in school, he'd laugh and say, "Why? Girls don't need an education."
Now, Daisy isn't alone when it comes to battling illiteracy. According to a national study, more than 56% of the illiterate adults are under the age of 50, and experts say that number is growing.
Vastly growing. The statistics went from something like 1 in 5 to nearly 1 in 2 in the past 10 years that cannot read at an 8th grade level.
Tutor Workshop Certificate of Completion.
Daisy's determination shows on her bedroom walls. She's won writing awards and finished her GED.
Left foot, right foot.
But she says her mission of showing the world reading is the most important learning tool won't be complete until her 2-month-old granddaughter Tiffany starts reading on her own.
I want her to be able to hold her head up proudly and walk, be able to go anywhere, and not to be ashamed of the fact that she can't read or write.
At least for now, Daisy no longer has to read between the lines. Stephanie Nishikawa, News Channel 4.
And congratulations to her for sure. According to the Adult Literacy in America study done by the U.S. government, the cost of illiteracy exceeds some $20 billion each year.
If you would like more information on reading skills, call toll-free 1-800-USA-READ.
Well, still to come on News Channel 4 Primetime, the latest on our troops and the possible invasion of Iraq and Kuwait.
Our Pam McKelvey is in the Satellite Center with the latest, Pam.
Thanks, Sue and Dave. Coming up, 4,000 U.S. troops are on their way to the Middle East as thousands of Iraqi troops line themselves along the Kuwaiti border. Plus, will the leaders who've been ruling Haiti for the last 3 years leave the country when they're expected to? Stay with us.
It's outrageous comedy with the world's slickest two-timer.
What do I have to do to make you trust me? What?
You are fooling around with her right in front of my face!
I am not!
Plus an inside look at car sales.
He wants to know the price of the car.
Why?
I don't know.
And witness the birth of a fast food career.
What are you up to? Oh, I just thought I'd go get a quick bite to eat. I had a craving for a burger.
Monday night at 11 on News Channel 4.
Whether your fall needs include hunting supplies, outdoor wear, or military surplus of any kind, Mickey's Surplus in Argentine, Kansas City, Kansas has everything you need. Coats, pants, vests, and ammo, motorcycle jackets, chaps, boots, and shirts, field wear, military boots, and GI surplus, all discounted every day. Mickey's also stocks a complete line of archery equipment and accessories. Come to Mickey's Surplus in Argentine, Kansas City, Kansas, and save money on all your fall needs today.
I'm between semesters right now and could really use a good job.
Call interim personnel.
Retirement affords me the time to work part-time, but I won't take just anything.
Call interim personnel.
I don't mind working a temporary position, especially if I know it can become full-time.
Call interim personnel.
I don't have time to canvass the city in search of that one position that meets all my needs.
Call interim personnel. Interim personnel offers you choices. Join thousands of Kansas Cityans who've secured jobs through interim personnel. Call the interim location nearest you.
There are harder things to do than winning at bingo. Just ask
Pat Logar, Maryland Heights, Missouri.
Pat won $10,000 playing Missouri Lottery Bingo.
Unlucky in golf and lucky in lottery. Oh, I missed it. Well, bingo's a lot easier than golf. Persistence pays off. I think I might take some of this money and buy some golf lessons.
Play bingo from the Missouri Lottery. No practice necessary to win.
U.S. officials warn Saddam Hussein he'll pay a horrendous price if he invades Kuwait again. Good evening, I'm Pam McKelvey in the Satellite Center. The closest of 64,000 Iraqi troops remain just 12 miles north of the Kuwaiti border. But it's a much more strongly defended border than it was in 1990. U.S. troops and hardware are pre-positioned north of Kuwait City and are awaiting 4,000 additional soldiers from Fort Stewart, Georgia. Secretary of State Warren Christopher says Hussein could be making a terrible mistake trying to invade Kuwait again.
I would urge him in the strongest terms not to subject his people to the kind of devastation that they'd be subjected to if they undertook that kind of an action. He's been thoughtless about his people in the past, but this would be just madness for him to do that.
Secretary of State Christopher is speaking from Jerusalem, where he is trying to jumpstart the peace process between Israel and Syria. The Air Force is preparing for hearings on the friendly fire incident. It took place in April over northern Iraq. 26 people were killed when U.S. fighter pilots mistook 2 U.S. Army helicopters for Soviet-made Iraqi crafts in the no-fly zone over Iraq. 5 Air Force officers are charged in the incident. They will go before the military equivalent of a grand jury Tuesday at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. The 5 could be court-martialed in the hearings. 2 Arabs are accused of running through a crowded Israeli cafe, shooting and throwing hand grenades. Several Israelis were wounded in the attack, but the exact number of injuries is not known at this time. One of the suspects was shot and killed. The other got away. Police officers have cleared the area, saying there may still be explosives and bombs in the area. In Bosnia this morning, Italian and Croatian planes began touching down at the Sarajevo airport. 19 UN aid flights and 2 Red Cross planes are also scheduled to land. It's part of the effort to build up supplies for the winter. The mission will also prepare for another possible attack and shutdown of the airport from the Serbs. Flights had stopped going into Sarajevo because of heavy fighting. Yesterday in central Sarajevo, a sniper attack killed 1 man and wounded 11. Sources in Haiti say Lieutenant General Raoul Cedras will step down tomorrow as Haiti's military leader. Cedras has been in control since 1991 when a coup ousted Aristide. His resignation, along with several other military leaders stepping down, paves the way for the return of elected President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. He's expected back in Haiti Saturday. Jury selection continues this week in the O.J. Simpson double murder trial. That comes amid continuing wrangling over the evidence in the case. Jim Hill looks at that and gives us a sneak peek at the week ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Lawyers for both sides will face several key issues in the week ahead. For the first time, lawyers and the judge will ask detailed questions of potential jury members in a proceeding called voir dire. More than 300 people have filled out questionnaires. Each will be interviewed in closed court sessions to weed out those with prejudicial views. Voir dire not only results in a final jury panel, but the process itself can reveal just what aspects of the case have been most troubling for those who were asked detailed questions about it. On Tuesday, lawyers will resume their battle over sharing results of DNA testing of blood samples from the crime scene.
That this is going to be trial by forensic ambush.
Last week, the defense accused prosecutors of intentionally delaying the test results so O.J. Simpson's lawyers wouldn't have enough time to review them. In a case in which hair-splitting details of scientific evidence play a role, hair itself has become an issue. Defense lawyers want hair samples from detectives who investigated the crime scene. Simpson's attorneys want to compare them with the hair found on a bloody glove. If tests show the hair came from a detective, that could support charges police were sloppy in handling their evidence. Prosecutors agreed to the unusual request, which some experts say was probably wise, even if it angered the police.
I think it makes them look good to face up to this challenge and say, sure, go ahead. We want to know, too, if in fact hair came from one of the investigating officers.
The defense will also continue an attack on evidence from O.J. Simpson's white Ford Bronco. It was broken into after police impounded the car. The ex-football star's lawyers will try again to have evidence found after that break-in tossed out on the grounds it could have been tampered with. Jim Hill for CNN Los Angeles.
On a lighter note, all hail the king. That was the theme last night in Memphis as dozens of entertainers paid tribute to Elvis Presley.
Tender, love me sweet, never let me go.
20,000 people turned out to watch performances by Tony Bennett, who you just heard, Michael Bolton, Cher, Melissa Etheridge, among others. Also turning out, the King's only daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, and her new husband, Michael Jackson. The 6-hour gala was also a fundraiser for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. It will be televised in December, and I'm sure it will be huge. Well, that wraps up this news coming into our satellite centers. If any stories develop, of course, I'll be back to bring you the latest. For now, back to Sue and Dave on the Primetime desk.
Thank you, Pam.
I don't know. Tony Bennett, love me tender. I just don't see it.
Something different, okay?
Real different, I guess. Can't wait for the show. Well, closer to home. Schools, taxes, and referenda were the topics this afternoon at a debate.
The 2 candidates for Kansas governor, Republican Bill Graves and Democrat Jim Slattery, argued the issues. CNN radio station KNHN 1340 AM and the New Times sponsored the debate at the Marriott Hotel downtown. Graves criticized Slattery for being a member of Congress. Slattery attacked Graves for using taxpayer money for flights around the state. Slattery said he supports giving voters the ability to change laws through a referendum. Graves opposes that. The pair has had several debates in the Kansas City area in recent weeks. Well, the latest polls are in, and the race for Kansas governor is getting close. As of today, Bill Graves leads Jim Slattery 46% to 35%. The 11-point margin is closer than it's been in other polls. For Attorney General, Republican Carlos Stovall leads Richard Schodorf 45% to 27%. The polls were taken for the Topeka Capital Journal by a Topeka firm.
Well, the Graves-Slattery race is getting closer on television, too. Both candidates are now running TV ads, and that means it's time for a Truth Watch look.
In the Graves ad, the candidate walks the streets and talks about taxes.
Our Kansas taxes are a lot higher than neighboring states.
Now, the Graves campaign says the claim refers to Missouri and Kansas taxes, and the facts show in general taxes in Missouri are lower than in Kansas. The Census Bureau says in 1991, the tax burden per person was $965 in Missouri, $1,077 in Kansas. But remember, the tax picture in our area is a bit more complicated. Kansas City, Missouri has an earnings tax, for example, while Kansas does not. Even so, the Graves ad is most misleading here.
My goal as governor, repeal the sales tax on labor used in new construction.
Graves may well propose to repeal the sales tax on new construction. Even if that works, though, it would have virtually no impact on the tax burden of the average Kansan. The ad implies Graves would take steps to even the tax situation between Kansas and Missouri. But the construction labor tax isn't the way to do it. Meanwhile, there's this from Jim Slattery.
Bill Graves is calling me a congressman from Washington. But as the folks around here can tell you, I'm from a farm family in Atchison County.
Here, Slattery violates the baloney rule. The fact is, Slattery is a congressman, has been since he was first elected to a House seat in 1982. Now, impartial observers consider Slattery a relatively conservative Democrat, known chiefly for his concern about the deficit. But he is a Democrat, and despite what the ad wants you to forget, he is a member of Congress.
For those new to Truth Watch, the baloney rule is reserved for politicians who claim in their ads that they are not politicians. Well, there is also another Graves ad on the air. It deals with rules and regulations proposed by the Secretary of State. We'll take a look at that in a future Truth Watch. And tomorrow, we will investigate Alan Wheat's TV ads, including one about Senate opponent John Ashcroft that is extremely misleading. You'll want to join us for that special Truth Watch tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Dave. Well, coming up, Kevin Kietzman has highlights and post-game from the Chiefs' loss to San Diego.
Plus, he'll give us his dog of the day. Let's hope it's not this game. And he'll have all the rest of the NFL schools.
Well, I think weather looks much better than sports these days. And if you liked today, well, I hope you did, because you don't have a choice. This week looks like there's a lot more. I'll have the details.
On the next Montel Williams Show, you won't believe the latest teen trend. How many men do you think you have been with?
About 15, 16.
They are members of teenage sex posses. You and her had sex with him?
My first time I was 12.
You're 14 right now. Tony, how many young ladies have you been with?
26.
Do you know what your kids are into? Mom, come on out here for a minute, please. If you have a teenager at home, you don't want to miss the next Montel.
Monday at 9 on News Channel 4.
Jim Potts on the work philosophy of Patio Enclosures Incorporated.
The work philosophy that exists at Patio is absolutely paramount in producing an excellent patio consistently. You can buy mass production almost anywhere, but a handmade patio enclosure you're only going to get here. We produce the best, and we do it all the time. There's nothing that we can't do to satisfy our customer.
Rock Bottom Closeout. Going on now at Sunny Hill Motors in Plant City. And rock bottom prices on every used vehicle in stock. Get a 91 Escort LX, $39.95. A 91 Chandler, $59.95. A 90 Corsica, $69.95. You've never seen so many vehicles on sale all at one time. Rock Bottom Closeout at Sunny Hill Motors by the Plant City Water Tower.
When you talk to Sunny Hill, you're dealing for real.
When you're talking Sunny,
you're talking deal.
Closet Warehouse with the guaranteed lowest prices on everything you need for your home. Like System Works Closet Starter Packs. So keep a lookout for HQ. And we'll keep looking out for you.
On the next American Journal, her new hit TV show has her audience in stitches while she laughs all the way to the bank. Now, get the scoop on Ellen DeGeneres. Watch the next American Journal.
Monday at 4 on NewsChannel.
My kids were talking about Halloween today, and I remember some cold Halloweens.
Yeah. It seems like, you know, the couple of days before Halloween are fine, but just when everybody wants to go out trick-or-treating, even as a kid I remember, it would be freezing.
I hated that. It's fun.
Yeah, and it looks like that was pretty much the story last year, too, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at the answer to the trivia question I showed you in the first half hour. When was our earliest snow last year? It was on October 30th, as a matter of fact. We had a trace of snowfall, just a trace, not much more than flurries. But that was 1 year ago on October 30th, so there it was, right before Halloween. Now we'll take a look here at our cloud cover. This is a couple of days ago. We had all that cloud cover around and long gone. Look at this. You can see kind of this low cloudiness filling in. This is not even really clouds. The satellite picks up the cold air as clouds, as a matter of fact, because it reads it by the temperature. So that's filling right in with the cooler air as our temperature continues to drop. It's going to be a chilly night. Next weather system out to the northwest, it's just going to stay there, kind of not moving. Anywhere in the country, nothing is moving so much. So we're going to continue with the same kind of weather over the next couple of days. As we look for that rainfall, look at this. There's a line through the Gulf Coast area, moving slowly through New England. By tomorrow, the colder air that's kind of socked in the northeast will produce a little bit of snow in the higher elevations there, Vermont and Maine. So a little wintry there, even though we're going to be feeling almost wintry. No snow, but the temperatures are going to be feeling more like winter right here with no rainfall, no clouds, clear skies. We're going to get a little bit of that. More rainfall for the Gulf Coast through tomorrow. They've had 4 inches through parts of Texas, couple of inches as we head through the Gulf Coast states, so they're still going to get a little more of that. Sunshine back here to the west. Now, like I said, we're going to have clear skies, fairly light winds, even through the night. So what happens, overnight it's cool. In the afternoons, we warm up very nicely with the sun. But here's what happens. We have high pressure that kind of settles in across the central part of the country, and especially over us. That creates a lot of sinking air. Air sinks under high pressure. So what happens is that sinking air brings down a lot of cool air, light winds right at the surface here, and our clear skies. That's 3 combinations. There are 3 ingredients that can get us, yes, some frost in the area. Low-lying areas, especially away from the city, because the city is also a heat island. So temperatures tend to be a couple of degrees higher right in the city area. But you move away from the city, temperatures drop, and also low-lying areas where that cold air is actually heavier, falls down into the valleys. So that's when we see the frost in outlying areas and low-lying areas. And that's the story here with high pressure over top of us. Our temperatures will be very close to that freezing mark, believe it or not. Temperatures tonight, here's the story. 40s stretch up through Kansas, but 30s for right here in eastern Kansas, Missouri. So look for some scattered frost. Now, as we head to the north, Iowa is under a frost advisory for tonight, as along with Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, all of those states up to the north. So we're not the only ones going to feel the chilly air. Temperatures right now, though, we're holding on into the 50s for now. Given a couple of hours, those temperatures will be very low. 50s across Kansas. We're starting to see some 40s show up there in Nebraska. Lamoni at 49. So you can see that colder air is already in place just up to the north. 51 degrees right now and falling. Dew points at 37 degrees. So that is pretty low for this time of the year. Makes the air feel very dry. Humidity is 59%, and our pressure is rising very slightly as high pressure continues to build into the area. 35 degrees for an overnight low for tonight. So that's why we can see some frost in some areas that drop to just 32. Winds will remain light. Skies will be clear. Then for tomorrow, our temperature will reach up to 69, very similar to today. Then another night in the 30s. And then our overnight lows start to come up a little bit there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, with the addition of some clouds. So expect temperatures to drop. They can climb up to about 70 degrees on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, back into those 60s. Now, it's very comfortable and maybe a little bit below normal for us, but we were talking earlier, San Diego had a record high today, 99.
That's
so
too high. They don't often experience weather like that, do they?
Well, actually, no. As a matter of fact, because you're by the ocean there, temperatures actually tend to be more in the 80s. But what happens, they have winds sloping down from the mountains, and that really heats things up, and it's very, very dry and hot, like desert type weather.
Things were pretty hot for the Chiefs today, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't know if that was part of the problem.
Pretty much baked the Chiefs today. I don't know. You know, we wonder when we put these things together if maybe the Chiefs fans would rather we just move right along and do the rest of the NFL on days like this. Was not a good day for the Kansas City Chiefs. A season that started with so much promise is now a mess. The Chiefs lose to San Diego today, 20-6. It was never really a game as the Kansas City offense sputtered. Joe Montana picked off here. The Chargers are now 5-0 in command in the AFC West. The Chiefs are 3-2. Stan Humphries tossed this fourth-quarter touchdown pass to Mark Say to ice the game. KC couldn't get it into the end zone for the second consecutive game. 20-6, the final. Pretty easy to place the blame here. The offense is just not scoring points. Joe Montana now has as many interceptions as touchdown passes, and none of the running backs have really stepped up yet. Later on the Kansas City Sports Machine, a complete post-game report from San Diego. In other AFC West games, the Raiders hold off New England. Jeff Hostetler to Harvey Williams. Look at Harvey go, 27 yards for the score. But the Raiders fell behind at one point, 17-14. They had to come back. Hostetler on the quarterback draw. He's in there for the score. Raiders win it 21-17 over the Patriots. Denver finally wins today at Seattle. It's where they invented the wave. It's okay if they do it. Seattle's Rick Meyer to Michael Bates. Big gainer right here. Bates with a tough day. He fumbles. Bates coughs it up, and the Broncos have it, so he tries a punt return. He fumbles again. Bates with a rough day for Seattle. Denver wins its first game of the year, 16-9 over the Seahawks. Around the league, Thurman Thomas had 125 yards for Buffalo as they beat Miami. San Francisco takes care of Detroit. New Orleans falls at Chicago. The Bears are now 4-2. The Rams lose to Green Bay. Robert Brooks with an 84-yard punt return in that one. Tampa Bay falls to Atlanta. The Falcons are 4-2 with a 34-13 win. And Dallas destroys Arizona 38-3. There was one other game in the National Football League today, and it gets our award as the dog of the day. This game gets kicked clear off the bed and has to sleep in the yard all night. It was so bad. How bad was this one? Nick Lowry was the star of the game, and he did not kick the game-winning field goal. Indianapolis at the Jets. Everything about this one is completely lame. Turnovers everywhere. The Colts fumbled 5 times. There were only 24 first downs in the game. The only touchdown of the game was a 1-yarder. I can hear him snoring at the Meadowlands. Jimmy Hoffa rolled over in his grave under the 50-yard line. If you hate offense, this game was for you. Neither team passed for over 100 yards in the game. Yuck. Lots of Nick Lowry field goals. The Jets get a win, but really there should be a law against this sort of thing, getting a win in a game like this. 5 field goals in the game, a game that's always pathetic. In previous games between these two teams, they had scores of 9-6, 10-6, 6-3, and 6-love. Sounds like tennis scores. Maybe this was actually the best Jets-Colts game, now that I think about it, after hearing those scores. I can assure you the Kansas City Sports Machine tonight will be a lot more entertaining than the Jets game. Coming up at 10:20 with Frank Bowl, all the plays from the game and post-game. We'll preview the Kansas State-Nebraska game. The Cats are moving up in the AP poll. So we should have a lot of fun in half an hour, even though the Chiefs lost.
I look forward to watching that.
So what's it with Jimmy Hoffa under the 50-yard line?
Well, isn't that the rumor? He's buried under the Meadowlands? I don't know.
And Tom Pendergast is in Brush Creek,
That's right. We're always digging for stuff. They play a game at Brush Creek, we'll make the dog of the day and have a reference to that.
Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.
Well, we're only 20 days away from Halloween. Some people may go with Jimmy Hoffa. We don't know, and that means many people are ready to carve their jack-o'-lantern.
Well, coming up, we'll join the search for the perfect pumpkin as we visit a pumpkin patch.
Hi, I'm George Brett of the Kansas City Royals. You might have heard that I'm in there pitching to strike out ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. But did you know I also step up to the plate for United Way? Its 150 agencies make miracles of caring happen all over our community. Please join me in making a generous pledge this year.
Fashions at Large has all that's new for fall and winter in their new store location. Larger women dress in style at Fashions at Large, just past the South Glen Theaters at 12601 Metcalf.
Anybody can take you to the top of a mountain. When you come down out of the clouds, you need
the strength for what you face every day. Introducing the all-new Jimmy, for the way you really drive. See the all-new Jimmy at one of your GMC truck pros today.
If you could furnish your home with the finest furniture in the world, would you? At Feuer's Interiors, you can. Feuer's features the most prestigious manufacturers at surprisingly affordable prices. Entire galleries by the creme de la creme. The kind of furniture you've seen in Architectural Digest and dreamed about owning can now be yours. This week at Feuer's, take advantage of store-wide savings of 40 to 50%. Furniture from Feuer's will make your home a showcase, but how much you save will be just between you and me.
The last 2 years, the Visiting Nurse Association vaccinated 50,000 area people against the flu. This year, another severe flu season may be on the way, and now it's much easier for you to get vaccinated, and for just $10. Flu vaccination stations will be set up at participating Osco drugstores and neighborhood grocery stores. Remember, the flu virus changes every year. For details on where and when you can get your vaccination, call the Flu Prevention Hotline at 931-5006. Don't take the flu home with you.
Well, today was absolutely perfect for picking out that Halloween pumpkin.
Yeah, my kids did that too, and some people were able to pick out their pumpkin at a farm in Bonner Springs. Let's look.
That weighs more than you do, don't it?
A little one.
Let's find a little one.
Huh? I like this one. No. Where's that other one? I can't wait anymore.
Something to look forward to. The kids get excited about it, and they have a good time running out here on a nice day and looking at the pumpkins in the pumpkin patch.
It's so much neater coming out here, and you can actually see where the pumpkins were grown, and you know, they have fun going through picking out one they want. Takes a little longer because there's too many to pick from.
Look at that pumpkin, Sarah. Gosh, that's much bigger than you are. So this is the one I want. Yeah.
Your kids seem to go for the big ones.
More work for us. Loading the big ones. They're too good to load them.
The little one and the big one.
There's some little ones over here.
She is precious.
All kids go for the big one, let me tell you. All kids
Most definitely. Well, you're there to carry it back to the car.
You bet.
I love carving those things. Well, tonight's Tell 4 question is one on everyone's mind. Should we continue to spend our money and risk our nation's lives to regain control at the Iraq-Kuwait border?
28% of our callers say yes, we should help Kuwaitis with their worrisome neighbors, while 72% of our callers said no, we should not be committing American resources in the region. We also get these comments from our voicemail box.
I believe it is very important to take all control and defeat him this time, because if we don't, it will happen again. We just need to remind Saddam how our air power is, how powerful we are, and strike it, and then use ground troops when necessary.
I think Saddam Hussein is a dangerous man. And because we went over there and started the war 4 years ago anyway, we've got to show interest in the future and stop him from creating more aggression.
Well, no matter how you feel about that, it is worrisome. Good word for it.
Boy, and we'll keep our eyes on this story as it develops in the week ahead. Big story.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of News Channel 4 Primetime.
That's right, but don't go away. There is more news coming in just a moment on News Channel 4 at 10. I'll move over and join my co-host, Pam McKelvey.
Let's go to Pam for a look at some of the stories you're about to see.
Thanks a lot, Dave and Sue. Coming up next on News Channel 4 at 10, they'll no longer be shamed into staying behind closed doors. Gays and lesbians paraded their pride for all to see in Westport today, saying they have a lot to offer the community. And more soldiers say farewell to their families and their friends as they get ready to leave for Kuwait. Plus, the English may be best known for their love of tea, but the Japanese take this drinking very seriously, and they dress it up with a lot of prestige. Don't pass up your invitation to a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. All this and more, this is News Channel 4 at 10.
From Kansas City's 24-hour news channel, this is News Channel